As the scene unfolds, it articulated that nymph, that figure so graceful, the bastard child of heaven's messengers, those who obtain their wings will be drenched with happiness. Further, it prolonged that nymphy hunters, feather-hunting smugglers, these lone wolves accomplish the hunt despite difficulty and pain, as their road, though sometimes violent, is lawless. However, it also mentioned that the Nymph Conservation Group is a lawful alternative organization that protects nymphy, and in order to protect, they discipline their bodies and hone their hearts. Consequently, they have no equal. Apparently, someone shouted, under what circumstances, as he'll be sailing on this ship too. So why can't he participate in an onboard play fight? Then the receptionist asserted that girls can't participate, which has become the custom. Just then, another boy questioned Rudy if he's not a boy, then introduced himself as Seal. The boy quoted, glad to meet him as he's Ren, and questioned if he knew the rule of battle. Seal responded that this is called a ship's safety prayer battle, and if he fights on the bowsprit, if he falls, then he loses. For those who win through, prize money is forthcoming. He then asked if he was aiming for the prize money too, and Ren agreed. Seal mentioned that when they go to the ship for battle, be careful since it's dangerous. Suddenly, Ren voiced, Seal-san, wait a moment, and questioned if he won't buy him for one evening. Hearing this, Rudy quoted that Seal's so popular, but Seal apologized to Ren as he prefers busty, shameless women, so call him again when he's reborn as a woman. Ren stated that he'll try elsewhere. However, Seal mentioned that sort of thing should be reserved for a lover, so he should earn money in a different way. But then Ren asserted, while sobbing, that he doesn't have money, except for battle, and didn't know how he could excel. Seal questioned if he would sell him that hair ornament as it looks like a native product of the nymphy. Apparently, Ren mentioned that nymphy is the one that said if they obtained their wings, they could become happy. So Seal quoted it because of that legend that mercenary hunters are killing them. As soon as Ren heard Seal, he shouted it couldn't be that he's a nymph hunter. Suddenly, a man asserted, just now I heard hunter, but which guy is it? However, Seal pulled Ren to him while shutting his mouth with his hand and questioned if he didn't know that of all villains, hunters are the only ones hated by everybody. Then Ren stated that he's completely hidden, and Seal mentioned that much of his work too can't be revealed as nymphy are said to be tiny. They flit and flee in all directions. Further, Seal stated that he's the protector of nymphy and a member of its conservation group. Hearing him, Ren asked if he protects nymphy from hunters. Seal quoted, look at the identification paper, as their job isn't just protecting nymphy from hunters. Collecting information to assure the survival of nymphy is also part of their work. And though he does that, investigates, and makes trouble, he can't understand them. How unusual, as he's of the faction that repudiates a conservation group. Then Ren gave a sweet smile and agreed, while stating that he thinks something like a conservation group is unnecessary. Seeing irregular movement, Seal shouted, look out. On the other hand, while holding hands, Ren mentioned, however much she wants her hand to grow, but it's sad as their hearts can't touch, only their fingertips. While tightening the grip, he voiced, yeah, and she noted Ren let go of her hand, but he dangerously asserted that her hand too is completely stained by blood. Unfortunately, Ren opened his eyes and contemplated that it was a dream, then quoted the sound of the bell. But before he could complete his word, someone apologized that it was his bell. However, a man introduced himself as Sakura Yuji, as he's the doctor here in the shipboard medical office. Then Ren introduced himself too and questioned who the girl behind was. She apologized as it was her fault. Seeing his confused face, Yuji prolonged that the baggage that fell on him was her responsibility. Then the girl quoted that she didn't notice that the baggage straps were worn out, and because of that. But cutting her off, Ren asked her name and she introduced herself as Kaloi Saki. After that, Ren told Saki to not cry as it's been a long while since he's been able to meet a girl, and a crying face would be a pity. He then asked if she has money. She won't buy him for one evening. Hearing this, Ren apologized and questioned if they two are a couple. Immediately, Saki refused because that's wrong, and Yuji told him that he has a fiancé in his country. So see this bell. Apparently, Saki explained to him that it's called an engagement bell as it's exchanged by betrothed couples. But she has someone, so Ren questioned if she could do that elsewhere by all means, as he'd be happy if she would show him around the ship. But then he asked if that on-board play fight started again, and Saki mentioned that she'll guide him. Moreover, she quoted, first of all, let's go and watch the battle. But Yuji shouted at them to wait a moment as Ren-kun has to rest for some time. Ren assured him that's fine because they won't do anything dangerous. Again, Yuji burst out that the two should come back. After reaching, Saki noted that they're doing it already. Suddenly, someone asked if she is a friend of that guy, and Ren mentioned that he's wrong. But then the man stated that guy's amazing, and he thinks Seal did more than 10 people in succession, as this championship could be his. Hearing him, Ren noted that those organization guys are said to be accomplished in both literary and military arts, so that's not necessarily false, but not entirely. Then Seal questioned if he was recovered from the injury earlier, and Ren responded that a while back he brought him to the medical office and thanked him. However, Seal assured him to not worry about it, as the previous conversation about that hair ornament. But Ren declined and mentioned that whether hair ornament or prize money, neither will he hand it over to him. Then they both started fighting. As soon as Ren charged at him, Seal contemplated that he's quite strong. Moreover, the spot he's aiming for is nasty but low, maybe from under, then quoted that his aptitude isn't bad, but he hasn't gained enough experience. But seeing Ren dodging his attack, he was surprised. Unexpectedly, Ren fell unconscious while attacking. Then Seal questioned if he's fine, as the earlier injury isn't improved. Meanwhile, someone asked if he saved him or if that guy would win. In the medical office, Yuji quoted, "Rest for some time," as he said that. Then Ren apologized. Again, Yuji requested to refrain from moving too much for 2 or 3 days, and he has said before that Seal shouldn't smoke here. Then Seal agreed. Suddenly, Saki voiced Yuji-sensei and questioned what he had done to this room. Seeing the mess, Yuji responded hesitantly that the truth is he had lost the engagement bell. Hearing his words, Saki got shocked and mentioned that she'll go search. Then Yuji quoted he'll go too and Ren-kun must not get out of bed. However, Seal asked what he was envious for, and Ren agreed while questioning, "Isn't it a lover?" Then Seal quoted that he's not the type to have faith in people, and if what he has seen of his swordsmanship is essentially correct. While passing the pouch, he noted that it's fine, but that hair ornament, and Ren stated that the hair ornament is what he had faith in the most, as something received from a lover can't be given away. Besides, this is a replica, so it has no value. Hearing him, Seal asserted that he should give up, so rest easy, and walked away. While standing outside, he noted he had faith in a lover. On the other hand, Yuji stated that it wasn't found and the night has already well advanced, so tomorrow the search will continue. Hearing this, Ren quoted that the precious bell is a disaster. Then Yuji responded that what's important isn't the bell, it's the girlfriend, as both of them have no relatives and after a little while, they came to live together, helping each other. Therefore, returning to their village for their wedding is something he also looks forward to. But as soon as Yuji saw Ren, he voiced that she's called Kaon, and said a line that makes him happy as nymphy wings, as she's a great beauty. Then he asked if he has a lover. While holding his hand, Ren noted, though they overlap, their hearts can't touch and only fingertips, that's why he decided not to hold out his hand. Suddenly, he mentioned that the sound of the bell could be heard. While walking outside, Ren questioned if it's all right to take in a bit of air outside, and Yuji responded, perhaps hearts can be made to touch, even if just a little, and because of that, he hoped for the best. However, Ren remembered Iya asserting that wouldn't it be good to try holding out their hand. Meanwhile, searching for the bell, Ren noted that he heard it coming from this area, but looking around restlessly, quoted if it was just his imagination. Unexpectedly, he saw Seal hanging on the ship with Yuji Sensei's bell. While it was from his mouth, Ren stated that he'll go return it to Sensei, and Seal voiced before that to help him. Hearing this, Ren asked if he has so much faith in him. Getting no response from him, he wondered if this guy probably can't stomach deserting and heard Seal say that he believes in him as he wasn't bad, and even if Ren doesn't believe in Seal, he does so hold out his hand. But seeing him only sigh after listening to his words, Seal quoted that he's such an impolite guy. While pulling him, Ren contemplated that this guy is absurd. After that, Ren stated that he was sold on sentiment, but it was disgusting, so he had to do something like help him, and Yuji supposed that they both found the bell. Later, Saki mentioned that he's completely recovered. Then Ren thanked her and questioned if they will be putting into harbor. She agreed, saying if they meet somewhere, that would be nice, so both of them have a good trip. Then he bid her farewell and got confused by her words. Suddenly, Ren saw Seal and shouted that he didn't notice him. Then Seal responded that it's an unexpected meeting, so he got off at this station too. Ren requested not to talk about following him. Moreover, Seal asserted that people who say they believe in him easily, so he detests, besides that he's more manly than him and even won the onboard battle and also has money. Hearing him, Ren blurted out that an organization joining Guy, he can't get along well with someone like that, and lastly he's off to go greet Yuji-sensei. Suddenly, Seal voiced to Ren that the hair ornament is probably the genuine article, as it said that Nymphy will not give such to anyone but family, so having a replica itself is impossible. Then he asked if he's a hunter. As for him, there is no connection, but it's likely he has it. Then Ren responded that he's a hunter and questioned if they could do it again, because this time he won't lose. Meanwhile, the man shouted that the baggage collapsed. Someone come quickly as there's a person caught under. Then Shiel asked Rudy what happened, and he responded that it's dangerous as the baggage collapsed again. However, Ren sensed something and moved forward while contemplating that this sound, it couldn't be. But as soon as he saw a person, Ren voiced in shock, Yuji-sensei. In the next scene, Ren shouted, "Is there another doctor?" Just then, Seal questioned, "Isn't there anything he wants to say?" In the end, a thing to convey to someone, and Yuji quoted to Khan, "Even if they have to part, she and him are one." But before Yuji could complete his words, he became unconscious. Seeing him, Ren articulated that he passed away like that, and to his beloved fiancée he left the engagement bell. Later, Seal quoted, "Is this where Yuji-sensei lived, Cars Town?" On the other hand, getting pissed off from him, Ren shouted, he said don't follow him. However, ignoring his words, Seal asserted, "Try to look. A circus troupe is here, and there's an exhibition stall too. Right now, this town is holding a dedication festival." Then Ren noted that he's not listening. Moreover, Seal questioned if he was searching for Kaon, wouldn't dividing the work between two people be faster? Hearing him, Ren contemplated that certainly he has to return Sensei's engagement bell to Khan, as Saki told him the town where she lives but didn't know her face, and it would be difficult alone. It would be good if he'd seen the picture with his own eyes, but what sort of person is Khan? Because he said she's a beauty? Perhaps similar to Sensei. While grabbing Seal, Ren stated that his side earns money by hunting nymph, and he's part of a conservation group that protects them and probably understands that their interests run counter to each other. Hearing his words, Seal mentioned that Ren is truly so gentle. Then Ren quoted dangerously, "Save for him, as he can seem to be one terrible gentle." Seal denied as he was speaking seriously. Ren was easygoing and not suited to being a hunter. Then Ren questioned quickly, "What part of me isn't suited to being a hunter?" Suddenly, Ren heard a Belle's voice and dashed towards it. While holding her, he noted Ayet is alive, and he's happy, but right now he'll hunt her with his own hand. Apparently, Seal stopped Ren and stated, "Doing that sort of thing to a girl." Certainly, Ren contemplated the eye color and the face too, but if he were to take a closer look, they are different. Moreover, that Belle, perhaps this person is Khan. Eventually, Shiel asked if she was okay and didn't sprain her leg. Just then, Ren rapidly apologized with his body from morning to evening as he mistook her for someone else, but he didn't mean it that way. Then Seal asserted that it's truly their fault and asked if she forgave them. Unexpectedly, Kaon questioned if Ren said that he'll pay with his body, so in that case she's going to work him hard. Hearing her, Ren contemplated that his image of this person may be wrong. Apparently, Seal stated that so-called ring, why did he even have to lend a hand? Then Ren guessed that the ribbon and bells of this house are a difficulty. Then Seal exclaimed that he for sure isn't listening to what a person is saying. Ren wondered if someone could help in cooking, but before he could complete his word, Seal noted that he can't cook. After cooking, Seal mentioned that it's done. Then Ren quoted that he's eating, and Seal's idiosyncrasy is good. Then Seal asserted, if he says rude things, then don't eat. Seeing them, Kaon started giggling. Then Ren asked what she was laughing at, and Kaon responded that a table that's lively like this is fun, as when Yuji was here, and she's really glad that they came. Further, she exclaimed that Yuji is the name of her fiancé, and at the moment he's away from home for work, so that's a hardship. Hearing her, Ren contemplated that was a good chance to approach the matter. Lately, while walking away, Kaon mentioned that it was great as she'll go hang the laundry out to dry, so the two of them take their time. Suddenly something fell, and Ren voiced, Kaon, as he's about to grab it. But she shouted, don't touch, then apologized as this holds a very precious thing in between. So Ren asserted that he'll hang these out to dry and requested Kaon to rest, as her leg is probably still in pain. Meanwhile, Kaon noted that in that case she's going to do this task. But then Seal voiced, Kaon, and questioned what are those bells and ribbons or charms she needs to have in order to do something. Then she responded that it's a bride's task, so the inside of the house could be enclosed with a bell-hung ribbon. On the night of the ceremony, the bridegroom walks along the ribbon, and as the ribbon shakes and the bell rings, the bride waits in the bedroom. That's the custom around here, as both of them admire it. However, Count mentioned that it reminds her of Ren and asked who he mistook her for. As he's about to respond, Count shouted that her leg hurts, as it's somebody's fault that it's terribly painful. Seeing her, Ren realized something and quoted that she has a noble character. Then he exclaimed that it's his enemy she resembled, as his family and friends were killed. Then Khan noted that's horrible, as she went and asked about a bitter thing, but he refused. Then Khan supposed that he's traveling together with her lover in search of her enemy, and Ren responded that the guy's merely a companion, not even. Then Shiel prolonged before that Ren is a guy. After that, Ren was holding her innerwear and asked if she thought he was a girl, but unexpectedly she slapped him. Later she questioned if his cheek was all right. Then Ren responded that it's fine. However, that was an odd thanks, and Seal mentioned that he has a particularly soft spot for women. So shall he dry his hair? Ren quoted that it's probably of no consequence to Seal, so it's fine. Therefore, Seal stated that after this, they'll continue this journey together, and Ren cried out, "Who would with him?" As he said it, that fellows of the conservation group. Cutting him off, Count questioned if Seal is really a member of the conservation group, as this is the first time she met one because someone said to be a member of the conservation group probably doesn't reveal their true color. But seeing their surprised faces, Count continued that he's safe and will keep it a secret because she's a nymphy. And now they both went into a huge shock, staring at her wings. Seal asserted that surely, nevertheless, that's unusual, black wings, which are super rare. Suddenly he came and stood in front of her. Then Ren assured him that it's quite alright, as he won't reach out for her because she's Yuji Sensei's fiancée, and he's not that sort of person. However, Count shouted Ren has words of that person. Later she asked where he is and if he said anything. Then Seal questioned if they could leave that conversation for tomorrow, but then he apologized as they're tired and tomorrow they'll certainly let her hear it. Apparently, Yuji voiced, does he really want to hear that a loved one's death, and even now he can't forget. While opening his eyes, Ren pondered another dream, and he won't forgive him. Suddenly he heard a bell and greeted Kan. Good evening. Seeing him, she asked, what's wrong? Then Ren noted, what more, fastening bells into the middle of the night. Kan responded that for some reason, when she sees the moon, she remembers Yuji. Also, they both didn't have relatives, and when he turned 16, Yuji invited her to leave the institution and live together while he became a doctor. But she hadn't yet awakened to her love for him. One day he said that those who obtain nymph wings can become happy, and at Crossroads, it's widely known. It seems to be a legend. Then Count quoted that it was the first time she heard that. However, they will be so badly off all the time, but Yuji exclaimed that he was always happy because Kan was here, and she's his nymphy. Further, Count prolonged that with just that one word she fell in love as tenderness and pain. For the first time she understood, as without that person at her side, she becomes this weak. But then Ren questioned if familiar love alone would be sufficient, asking if that wasn't being swayed by negative sentiments. Hearing him, Count quoted that she feels kind of uncomfortable, and he stated that goes for him too. But Count exclaimed that she absolutely didn't think and doesn't want to know how it is to be in love. Then Ren asked what would become of her if she were to lose Yuji. Suddenly Seal shouted, Ren, and questioned if Count was fine. Then he responded, Seal, what's wrong? As they both were only chatting. However, Count mentioned that Yuji's news, she's not willing to believe it, and is actually weak. Then Seal stated that she asked for word of Sensei, as his death is truly regrettable. Eventually, Ren mentioned that they came to convey words of this to her, as abroad, the ship Yuji Sensei was on died in a sudden accident. Just then, Count cried out that she didn't believe them. Seeing her, Seal questioned if this is the power of nymph wings, and Ren quoted that it synchronizes with her spirit, as the power is running wild. He told her to calm down and listen to their take, but she refused, not wanting to listen as they are liars, and threw the knife at Ren. While holding him, Seal stated, pull yourself together, and Ren responded that it's fine as this isn't the real thing. But unexpectedly, the wound disappeared. Then Seal noted that showing illusions is nymphy power, so listening and believing it becomes truth. This is what it meant. But Ren questioned if an illusion could kill an ordinary person because the heart and body are tied together. Then Seal agreed, stating that if one is made to believe it is the real thing, it makes a wound. However, Ren mentioned that it doesn't work on him, so Kaon shouldn't make light of a nymph hunter. In the next scene, Ren remembered those who obtain nymph wings can become happy and quotes how truly foolish. Then he articulated, "Don't believe that sort of thing," and asked, "Then why is she crying?" However, Ren asserted, having said that, first of all, Seal, he is a nuisance. Hearing him, Seal gets confused. Certainly while walking away, Ren mentioned that Kaon's attacks don't work on him, but when it comes to that, and thinks he'll be a burden, then Shield responded that the fellows of the conservation group don't mean to defend against illusions as their preference is strength. So if they force their way through, they will bring it to an end. However, Ren stated, "That's amazing," and questioned if a world of Illibest by Phantasma, he called that victory. Then Shield responded, he'll show him how, but Ren shouted, "Kaon, cast aside that wings fragment." Then Kaon voiced that she realized it as she supposed a matter of this fragment, but without this, Yuji told her that she can't become nymphy. Hearing her, Seal asked Ren, "What's wrong? She's not a genuine nymphy." Ren agreed, saying she's an ordinary human and only assumes the appearance of a nymph with the aid of the wing fragment. Then Seal exclaimed that all along he has been shown illusions until now. Eventually, Ren stated that it's only a wing fragment, so it doesn't have as much power. This is almost like having a wing but not using the power. So Shield quoted, "As long as a fragment could be snatched away even by force, the power running will subside." Then Ren questioned if he's asking that they would bring back her senses, but Kaon shouted, "Don't come any closer, as she'll kill them, so leave her." Then Ren asserted, "That's an awful lot of weapon," and Seal voiced, "Hear him out," then asked if he is confident of defending himself against all that. Moreover, Ren supposed that it might be a bit difficult and contemplated that he's lying, so it would only make him worry. Suddenly, Shield took all the attacks on himself. Seeing this, Ren questioned, "What are you doing and why shield someone like him?" Then Shield responded that it's just him, thought it would hurt, so snatched the fragment from her. That's for the best. Again, Ren questioned if other humans are dragged into Kaon's running. Then what would he do? Shield mentioned that he's supposed to be a cruel hunter, but is more of an optimistic kid than him of the conservation group. It's really shameful, but even so, he thinks Ren wants to be lacking, therefore quickly persuade her to give up. After that, Ren shouted, "Kaon, there are words that I must convey to her," but Kaon told him to stop as she didn't want to listen. But Ren continued that even if they have to part, even if he dies, she is not alone, so there is no loss as she and him are one. Therefore, he will be with her together, forever. Seeing the engagement bell, Kaon noted that it's true that he is dead. Then she immediately embraced Ren. On the other hand, Seal mentioned that the wound disappeared, and with this, everything was resolved. However, Ren shouted that since then Kaon has been sleeping for 2 days straight and won't wake up. Then Seal wondered if the burden imposed because the power ran wild was too much for her spirit. Suddenly, Shield put a hot bun on his face while stating that he made it, so try eating it as he probably said it was good. Hearing him, Ren was looking at him blankly. Then Seal asserted that if the stomach is full and even the wakeful, he could sleep so the head can work, and questioned when Kaon wakes up and he's emaciated, does he think she'll be happy? Lately, Ren articulated to not be thrown out of filter. Then he stated it looks like the wings still have a little power remaining, and he had no intention of making friends with that guy. So while Kaon sleeps, he could take away these wings. Unexpectedly, he remembered what's with these feelings of guilt. It's hunting him. But he gets it and won't do that sort of thing as his journey purpose is locating Aya. Further, Ren wondered if he's really weak and exposing himself here, even though he became a hunter in order to hunt Iya, yet not be revealed as a nymph too. But he could only make Kaon wake up with guidance, using the same nymph wing's power to release her from a nightmare rondo. On the other hand, he continued, Kaon, that nymph wings can't bestow something like happiness, as that sort of thing is merely legend. These wings only show dreams, and the rest is what's unique of it. Suddenly, Kaon heard a sound and contemplated that there's nobody here, and the betrothal was not fulfilled as she's left to die. Unexpectedly, again Kaon heard a voice, the sound, the bell of the bridal night, and got confused. As soon as she saw her clothes, she voiced, "Yuji," and he asked, "What's with those wings?" as she looked like a real nymphy. While embracing her, Yuji noted that he's home and apologized to her. Hearing this, Kaon contemplated that he came home to her and requested him not to go anywhere else again as she worries all the time, even this wedding. Although it made him tremendously happy, then he agreed and articulated that so on with the happy dream. The next morning, glancing at her, Ren noted that she'll awaken naturally after a little while. While getting out of her room, he saw Seal. Seeing him, Shiel asked in shock what he was doing in Khan's room, then denied that he didn't have to tell him. Ren responded that he was consoling her, but Seal quoted that he possibly said him not to tell him. Ren stated that there was no reason to do that sort of thing. Later, Khan mentioned that she's truly grateful to both of them. Then Ren asked if her health is fine, and she thanked him. Then she asserted that it reminds her of the question he asked her the night of that day, and she gets it. Further, Khan continued that while dreaming, she remembered that love hasn't ended. Therefore, though the truth is that even now she's ready to cry her eyes out, nevertheless, in spite of this feeling, she can't think that and didn't want to know this love, so that's why she'll do her best once more. Then Khan moved close to him and whispered in his ear something, then quoted that she'll pray for his happiness and get along well with Seal, so come and visit again. Apparently, Seal questioned that before going to a different town, won't he go look around Card Town's festival? But Ren quoted that Seal is still hanging around. Suddenly, Seal thought that Ren received something from Khan after the handshake. Ren agreed as she said there was no more need for it, as it's a traveler who gave her those wings, and it's not merely wings. Then he contemplated that he was amazed that person's appearance was exactly like him, as this is his enemy's wings and truly out of kilter his true form, as he didn't think of using this nymph's power. On the next scene, a girl questioned who he was, and Ren thought that with her, he was going to share nymph wings. Hearing him, the girl asked why such expensive things, while thinking he supposed that Atom in pangs of conscience, this was only his whim. Also her face is similar, and it feels like destiny. Further, Ren continued that she might say that it's because he has no more need for these wings. However, Seal questioned if those were Ren's enemy wings. Then Ren mentioned that the guy passed through this town, but he doesn't understand how he benefits from giving Khan his own wings. He then articulated that those who possess nymph wings will become happy, as that legend is the reason the lives of Nymphi are sought by Nymphi hunters. While thinking, Seal quoted that even the organization hasn't heard such a tale as a nymph personally giving wings, and Ren articulated that Seal is working to protect them as he's a human of the nymph conservation group. On the other hand, he posed as a human in order to hunt down his enemy and become a nymph hunter. However, Seal knows that he's a nymph hunter, but whether he is a nymphi or a human is something he doesn't know, and he has no intention of telling him. Further, Ren continued that because he hunts Iya and doesn't think that he needs anything as there is nothing that was stolen by this guy. Eventually, somebody shouted what he calls this as she hasn't seen such colorless, transparent wings. Then a girl shouted that they're not ill-omened wings, as those are silver and good luck wings. Certainly, the old lady quoted that she hasn't seen near white wings. So child of black wings, Aya, this, and he were the children with similarly unusual wings, so it would be fitting that he becomes good friends, and he agreed happily. Like that, from soon after he was born and supported by Iya, 10 years later, Aya voiced and questioned if the homework was not finished yet, then he'd help him. However, Ren contemplated that with his exceptional intelligence and particularly fine features, even among nymph, Aya was special as he was different from all elders and all the children. In the meantime, Aya mentioned that doing homework on his own provides the best benefits, but he's only making Ren useless, so that's how he thinks, and it's probably not at all unfair. Then Sun asserted that if she were to accept a lesson from Jill. After that, Aya told him to let's go, as he found a year in the barrier protecting this village, but Ren mentioned that the elders say they mustn't leave because outside is dangerous, and Aya responded that sort of thing is a rule that others made, and he decided for himself. Then Ren articulated that was the sort of guy he loved so much, and Aya mentioned that as fine as their being nymphi won't be discovered at all. Staring at the view, Ren stated that it was amazing and asked if that all was made by humans, as the so-called humans aren't just dreadful. Then Aya quoted that when it comes to fears, both human and nymphi are one, as he understands human feelings. Then Ren questioned if Aya wanted to become human, and he noted what does Ren think, answering a question with a question is no good. But then he apologized and told him to introduce him to a human girl. Apparently, Ren articulated that because he knew about hunters, the truth was humans were dreadful, but since it was Aya who said it was fine, he believed that. In the next scene, Ren gets confused as soon as he saw Sun and Jill unconscious. Then he held Sun, and she told him to be careful as humans, but someone voiced to step back, and it's none other than Aya. While holding his hair, Aya quoted that he should give him, as it's a way to approach him with all his hope. Just then, Aya voiced hunters and questioned if they hunted down all the wings, so slipped back into the night to leave no evidence behind, and if they're chased by the fellow of the conservation group, it will be a bother. Seeing this, Ren contemplated that he was betrayed, even though he loved him so much and relied on him that way, but he deceived them all. Suddenly, Seal voiced Ren and started pulling him backward. Then Ren asked what he was doing, and Seal questioned where he thought of going. Apparently, Ren stated that where he asked to pursue Aya at once. Then Seal questioned if pursuing at once is good enough, but where he goes, he's guessing. Then Ren asked if it's possible that maybe he's not alone, and Seal mentioned that he'll also search with him because if Ayat is a nymphy and he is a member of the conservation group, he also has a connection. If he was not alone, then he won't find something questionable. However, Ren exclaimed that Seal said earlier that he believed in him, but it was in earnest, and Seal asked if he thought it was a lie. But if he agreed to join forces with him, then it would be exceedingly advantageous with the conservation group's intelligence network, as the amount of information that could be provided, and he could cook meals too, and Ren would get accustomed even to travel, and there are earnings. Further, Seal continued that in that case, they have an agreement and today keep him company for 1 day. Later, Ren shouted that he did it and Seal's weak. Then Seal excused himself and asked the shopkeeper if he wouldn't sell him this while pointing at something. Ren quoted, "What's that? It looks interesting as the balloons that those guys are making go boing and so on because it's passing." Hearing his words, Seal started chuckling. Then Ren told him not to laugh as this is his first such festival, so he didn't know the name and Seal agreed. "That's a water yo-yo." Seeing him, Ren contemplated that something like that, such a smile on this guy, as it might have been the time he saw it. Then he mentioned that Seal hadn't asked about his past, and Seal responded that supposing he wants to ask and will, but only if there were no other way, as such unreasonableness is probably boorish. Also, he's afraid if he asked one time and Ren doesn't answer, then it will turn to stubbornness. Further, Seal continued that he doesn't have a family and wondered by telling him he has no memory of anything until around 16 years old. Therefore, both his resentment and hatred for adversaries because his precious family was killed as he can't comprehend them, and if he could understand them, then it's bad form. Therefore, he doesn't have a right to stick his foot in and moreover, doesn't have an interest in others that's worth sticking his foot in. Then Ren noted, rather like trailing him, as in his case that's because he has a fancy to. Suddenly, a man shouted, "Young lady, how about this show tent?" And Ren contemplated that from now he doesn't intend to know more. Then the shopkeeper asserted that he's cute, so he'll give it to him cheaply. So here are 2 tickets. While staring, Ren mentioned that they're all creatures he'd never seen before. Apparently, someone shouted he won't stop it. Then Ren asked what's wrong, and the man asserted that although he's growing feeble, he won't touch the fees. Seeing the creature, Ren quoted, "That is preposterously cute," and Seal states that it's horribly lousy taste. But the man too thinks that it's cute, but it's splendid. Unexpectedly, they saw another man who smiled and walked away. Ignoring it, Ren exclaimed that for the people who have a sense, they could appreciate it, and that guy also said it. But Seal responded that he didn't say cute. Eventually, Ren asked this youngling in there what isn't he eating. Then the man mentioned that rats and earthworms, insects still live, as this youngling is said to be a mutation of the screw species. Given food other than those, the screw species will die, so this youngling won't eat what he's given. As stress accumulates, his appetite declines, so if he stays here, he might die. Lately, Ren shouted that he had decided that creatures and would steal him, so it's fine because he doesn't expect Seal to work with him. Then Seal mentioned that theft is a crime, and Ren supposed that others made that sort of rule. Moreover, Seal asserted that at any rate, be opposed this way too, and he is paralyzed. Then Ren stated that someone said he believed in him, but does he feel that? Hearing him, Seal exclaimed that even if he doesn't believe in his words, it will not make him do something dangerous. Therefore, Ren shouldn't go. As soon as Seal held his hand, Ren quoted, "Is that so? I got it already." After sighing, Seal contemplated that whether the guy believed in him or not doesn't give him a queasy feeling in the stomach. Suddenly, Ren jumped and stated that in that case, since there isn't an agreement. In the next scene, Ren contemplated that, unmindful of anything, warmth was trusted. He was childish in those days, but now that things have come to this and can't return to those days, meanwhile Seal shouted where he was going. However, Ren prolonged that before the issue of Seal is the previous decision about that child's circumstances. Then he knocked on the door, and a man asked what was happening in the middle of the night. Ren voiced, "Uncle, it's terrible. The shop is burning. Look over there." But the man shouted, "How did this happen?" Taking the bucket of water, he's about to throw it, but not seeing the fire, he gets shocked. Watching him, Ren asserted, "It seems like that takes too much potential," and totally had him seeing things, so now infiltration successful. And if memory serves, it's this one below. While walking casually, Ren reached him and greeted, "Good evening," as he's come to fetch him, so come and hide under his coat. Unexpectedly, the same man who smiled at them asserted that his discernment is high. Seeing him, Ren mentioned that this noon they met in the shop, and the man agreed, as he also had his eye on that. But then Ren exclaimed, "What a pity, as this youngling is already his." Rapidly, the man attacked him and stated without giving so much as a reason, "What extreme haste. So he must have received training, however it would seem that it's only a little. In which case he may as well play." While dodging his attack, Ren contemplated that he's strong. Eventually the man quotes, "Because he completely avoided him, aren't there excess things that get cut down?" Hearing this, Ren thought for this guy, he'll use the power of the wings, however he won't hand over that child. Apparently, the man voiced, did he hurt his feelings? But before he could complete his words, Seal entered and mentioned that this is really questionable, as he just can't leave him alone. Then the man noted a boorish night. Moreover, Seal mentioned that he'd done business with this guy, so Lee contending this guy to him. Then the man quoted, "Listen," asking Seal for any such help. But Seal stated, "Isn't he wanting to protect that guy? If that's so, he'll probably understand." However, Ren noted that making reference to one advantage, but he won't wait for Seal. While giggling, the man asked if he were completely rejected, and Seal questioned if that comforted him. Then they both started fighting. On the other hand, Ren contemplated why helping someone like him, to extend a warm hand though he can't return the grip. Suddenly, someone voiced that person will be killed, and at last his true form could be seen. Then he stated that his tribe is the Sunrise Color-Winged, and his name is Ren. Then he introduced himself as Hina, and thanked him. Apparently, Ren exclaimed that it's still early for gratitude as he's a nymph hunter, so he'll excuse him, Hina. Meanwhile, fighting, the man asked what business he had with him. Then Seal responded that he's definitely carried on the blacklist Harold Hugeyes. Hearing him, Harold asked if he were a gentleman of the conservation group. No wonder his skill is well-founded. Then Seal asserted mercilessly, engaging in a brutality game that he set his sights on. Don't get away, as he was a confirmed nymph hunter. Unexpectedly, Ren voiced, "That means he's my business competitor." But seeing him, Harold noted that all along he was on the lookout for him, as this is the dress Hina was wearing when he dispelled the illusion. Then Ren just smiled at him and quoted, "It's good to receive an explanation, so there is nothing more to show beside this." And Harold stated that the edge of his pleasure has been dulled by this, so he shall withdraw and is fine with him owning those wings. While bidding Harold stated farewell and take care of a hunter as a benevolent conservation group san. Eventually, Ren mentioned that was good. Surprisingly, he withdrew just like that. Then Seal asked where he was hiding that creature and hoped it's safe. But Ren shouted, "Why does Seal think that he didn't kill it? Those wings aren't an illusion," and wondered if his being a nymphy had been discovered. Just then, Seal asserted that he presumed Ren has it, those black wings, and asked if he was wrong. Hearing him, Ren responded that he isn't wrong, but this is a sham for the time being and thinking of bringing that guy home too, as only the cloth from the dress is the real thing, and properly explained Hina the reason to Bina, and he gave him the cloth. Apparently, Seal questioned if he was also aware that the creature is a nymphy, and yet he protected the nymphy from a hunter, even though he too is a hunter. Moreover, Ren hesitantly responded that the creature's shape appealed to his taste. That's all. Then Shiel mentioned if he protected without killing, then he doesn't mind. But nevertheless, Ren correctly recognized that he's a nymph. Hearing him, Ren contemplated that the truth is he's a nymphy, and although illusion has an effect even on fellow nymph, because they could tell that power is being used as it fails easily, but he can't say something like that. Further, Ren exclaimed that it was a hunter's intuition. Then Seal noted this so-called intuition and taught him how to do it. But Ren denied, and Seal questioned what he was saying. Apparently, Ren shouted, "What, he's joking?" He had forgotten his leave a little while ago, but Seal mentioned that he came to help him, and Ren responded, "That's because he owes everything to him." Hearing him, Seal stated that he's saying nothing about parting company and so on with him. Then Ren contemplated what's going through, as he's quite selfish, but isn't this guy too high-handed? Moreover, Ren mentioned if he's going to stick with him, then stop complaining about his doing things. And Seal responded, "Except stealing, none of the choices is the cause. I only wanted to say that." Then Ren asked if that's the case, is the priority surpassed by Harold? And Seal stated that might be. But he's the type who use any means, fair or foul, so long as a person isn't injured. That's because Ren's like that. He can't leave him alone. Furthermore, Seal exclaimed that Ren may not believe, but he believes it's like that, even though Ren is a hunter and probably kept secret the fact that he's a member of the organization, so not leaving a worried guy alone while not recovered from his own injury and going in search for the bell. Moreover, coming to this town to deliver that bell. Hearing him, Ren responded that he might have a guilty conscience, and Seal asked if he doesn't have, but Ren noted in denial. Still, he's not a nice guy and not a guy who thinks as Seal does. Apparently, Seal mentioned that he doesn't mind even if he's not a particularly nice guy and wouldn't betray his most important point as he indulges others no matter what difficulties may happen. Further, Seal prolonged that for him, determine his own heart and don't betray it as he believed him. And Ren asserted that by nature, indulges people and confidence in himself lies in not betraying that sort of him. Hearing him, Seal quoted, "Unless he loses his way. So long as that's the case, he doesn't mind that he's also a nymph hunter." However, Ren questioned if he really doesn't mind. Then Shiel mentioned that he'll use all his power to put a stop to it, so believing him and excusing wrongdoing are again different stories. Certainly, Ren wondered if he didn't betray himself and just arbitrarily believe, then he was betrayed. Also, he doesn't know the true Aya. However, Ren voiced that he's back, and Seal quoted that it's his first time seeing a nymph child out, but unexpectedly he bit him. Seeing this, Ren mentioned it looks like he was disliked, as Heine says it's because of the bad taste. But Seal wondered what shall they do about this guy and voiced Huna, then questioned if it's the conservation group. There are children like him too, so in case he doesn't have a place to return, will he come to his institute? Then Heine responded that his village is already gone, and if it's together with Ren too, then he'll go. Apparently, Shiel asked if memory serves. Ren said he was averse to the organization. Then Ren responded still if it's together with Seal, he doesn't mind making a detour through. Seeing them embracing each other, Ren contemplated what's with this person, didn't rapidly become a simpleton, and Seal noted once again an agreement to join forces. While agreeing, Ren thought that he would not betray himself and believe in that, and if he takes his hand, then he too would like to believe in that hand's warmth. On the other hand, staring at them, Harold stated that the game he set his sight on shouldn't get away, as that's the sort of guy he's said to be. Then an unknown person giggled and hoped he still hadn't given up on them, as that childish trick of getting sucked in was unbecoming. So he assured him, but Harold denied it because from now on is the real performance. However, the person asked if it's greed, as he doesn't hate it, but such a streak in him. Listening to that sweet child's tear-choked voice and seeing that person, Ren got shocked and voiced, "Aya." In the next scene, Ren stated to Ia that these hair ornaments are pretty. Then Ia responded that they were given to him as a memento by the previous chief, so sleep soon. Ren asserted how boring it was, saying only he sleeps alone and so on. Then Ia mentioned that after a while, Ren too would greet the coming-of-age ceremony, and when that happens, they'll be together all the time. Ren agreed that it would be fun and contemplated that day before the time he was betrayed, as the person is nearest to his heart. And Aya quoted, "It's been a long time. I wanted to meet you all along. Also nice to meet Seal-san of the Nymph Conservation Group," and asked, "Even if you're the companion of hunters, would you protect him?" In a snap of his fingers, Ren was in front of his feet, and Aya quoted, "Don't make a mistake, as the one who played false first was him. So be clear, the way Yuji was." Hearing him, Ren contemplated why Yuji Sensei's name and what kind of thing, then Aya stated the ship he embarked on. Apparently, Ren asked, did he make it look like an accident and kill him? Getting a smile in response, Ren shouted, "Why?" Seeing this, Shio contemplated if Ren was using the wing fragment once more, and Aya quoted not to fear Harold as it has no effect on him. While fighting, Seal noted that it's time to dispatch the nymph child. However, Aya asserted that this is the ultimate, so come, follow the black wings, and kill him. Then Shiel quoted, "In that case, take him along too," and Ren asked what he was saying. Then Ia stated that with an inability to dispel even his illusion, someone useless like him is unnecessary to Ren. After that, Ren asked why Yuji-sensei and everyone in the village were killed. Then Ia responded, because it didn't suit his will. Indeed, he'll kill if they're obstacles. That man by the name Seal too. And Ren contemplated that he was detestable, that's why. On the other hand, the lady announced such a clamor early in the morning, so trying to look toward the front. Then Saki thanked her for her help and questioned what that light was. In the next scene, someone stated that the light is fading. However, Sanchi questioned what it was that light. Suddenly, Seal voiced, Saki. On the other hand, Ren contemplated that no matter how much he stretched out his hand, their hearts can't touch, only their fingertips. The one who said that was Aya. Further, then he asserted if they hit each other with the wing's power, the power will be bound and may create an enormous blackness that snaps back on themselves. So to protect his body, he only had to create a barrier field that is stronger than his opponent's. This time, they were nearly equally matched, but it seems his power was somewhat stronger. However, Aya quoted that he will become the one who will destroy the world of the Nymphi. Hearing him, Ren contemplated that strength won't enter his body and stated that sort of thing he won't allow. As soon as Aya touched his head lightly, Ren told him not to touch him, but before he could complete his words, Aya mentioned that in the past, he took delight in it. Hearing this, Ren contemplated while speaking of cruel things, touching him that tenderly the same way as that time. Then Aya asserted if he wanted to stop him, he should come give chase like when he was a child, come run after him. Eventually, he prolonged it to stop as the heart was likely to break, and then he fell unconscious. Later, as soon as he woke up, Saki noted, long time no see, and Ren asked, where is this place? Then Saki responded his wound isn't closed yet, so stay still, and told him this is an inn as she came to notify Kon-san of the return of mainly Yuji-sensei personally effect. Further, Saki continued that she was so surprised that Seal-san was carrying a girl covered with wounds and was thinking about taking the girl to the hospital. This time, he came along with Ren-kun covered with wounds. Hearing her, Ren immediately apologized as they brought her trouble, but then Seal entered the room and asked how he felt. But Ren questioned before him, what about Haina? Is that one all right? Apparently, Seal responded that rest assured, and it seems that it will not prove fatal. Then he asked if Ren was a crybaby, but Ren responded that he was not crying. Watching them, Saki chuckled and mentioned that she would go get fresh water. Suddenly, Seal asserted, for all that, the power of nymph wings is terrific, and I keep hearing that recovery from injury is several times as fast as humans. However, Ren contemplated that because the wings are the life source of nymph, and in spite of that, Aya had quite a bit of his wings broken off. Just then, Shiel mentioned that aside from that, the condition of his coat is rather on the verge of death. But Ren shouted that it's his only good outfit. On the other hand, staring at Hina, Senshi asserted they said if she rouses from the coma, moving even straight away is safe. Then Shiel questioned if she was skipping meals and losing sleep again. Sanchi responded that the two might be fine, as she would help with the nursing. Later, Saki quoted it precisely during her vacation from work as well. This too is something like fate, although she doesn't know it shall be useful. Hearing this, Ren mentioned that she is so kind-hearted and thanked her as he'll reward her with his body. Rapidly, Seal immediately hit his head, and Ren asked what he was doing. Then Seal questioned why he always says that sort of thing, and Ren asked if earning money with that body is such a bad thing. Apparently, Shiel asked if sense of virtue isn't a problem for him, and Ren questioned if that's all. He was acquainted with the people at the House of Flowerland in the past. Hearing him, Shiel contemplated that he is only a kid and can't be expected to have any resistance. But Ren continued that those people all worked proudly. Suddenly, Saki asked if he really thinks women like doing that occupation because in her land, poverty is the reason for choosing that occupation as its disgusting work. And if it were a woman who wants to serve proudly, then she wouldn't do it with anyone but the man she likes. While touching his hair, Ren responded that the feeling called liking and love he doesn't understand, but if that's the case, Saki also won't do it with anyone but the person she likes. After hearing him, she immediately ran away by slamming the door. Then Seal stated while chuckling if Ren really thinks that he has gotten used to women but was so oblivious of all the dreadful matters. Ren told him to shut up. After 3 days, Ren thanked Saki as he was revived. Seeing him, Saki started clapping, and Ren mentioned while holding her hand that it's really due to Saki. Seal asserted that the word of gratitude was for him, but observing his face, Seal shouted that he won't cook his meal anymore, and Sanchi started laughing. Furthermore, Saki questioned if Ren doesn't have a coat, and if he isn't going shopping, While thinking, Ren responded that the previous coat is gone. Since that coat was summer wear, either way, he had to buy a replacement. But Seal asserted that there is still some prize money for the onboard play fights left over and questioned if he should buy one for him with this. As Ren was trying to snatch the pouch from him but failed, Seal stated that he wouldn't give it all. In between, Saki stated that she would look after Hina-chan. Later, while holding the coat, Ren mentioned that this might be suitable as the material goes together, but he wondered how it is. Then Seal asserted that it was fine, and Ren questioned if he had difficulty saying anything. Seal responded that he dared to say something impudent at this time. Eventually, the lady stated that if it were that fabric, then she thinks it would be easy to match with the clothes he's wearing right now. Seal quoted that he'll handle the payment. However, the lady mentioned that she is really a charming girlfriend as it's stylish and fits her well. Then she announced good news for such a boyfriend. At present, a customer purchasing merchandise of a certain amount or more from the shop will draw a lot and receive a gift. The first prize is, lo and behold, an invitation for 4 to a trip to a hot spring resort. As this hot springs resort also has mixed bathing, it's a suggestion for the couples. Apparently, Ren asked what is so-called mixed bathing. Then Seal responded that men and women enter the bath together. Hearing this, Ren got shocked and immediately asserted that he will draw the lot. Then the lady requested him to spin the lottery. After spinning, the lady stated almost but not quite, as it's the third prize, a necklace as it suits her exceedingly well. After wearing it, Ren stated that this looks like a woman's goods and questioned if he had been mistaken for a woman again. Moreover, Seal questioned if this shop carries weapons because, in the long run, the short sword he used until now is a disadvantage against an opponent with a long sword. Certainly, Ren stated that a person of the conservation group will really accept all possible efforts for the sake of the nymphy. Then Seal responded that apart from that, he can't leave him and moreover doesn't want to repeat the same thing a second time. Further, Seal asked how about trying to augment his weapon. While holding the gun, he stated that if it's him, then this will be good. Ren asked if, even though the opponent has a blade, he will use a firearm. Then Seal asserted the villain is reluctant. But then Ren questioned if Seal forgot that he called himself a hunter and remembered Aya noted that he will become the one who will destroy the world of Nymphy. After that, Ren quoted that he won't let Aya have his own way any further. Therefore, if he hunts him down, everything will come to an end, and continued that if that's the case, he is going to protect him and the Nymphy as Seal is the true busybody. Seeing them, the lady questioned if those are also purchases. If they are, then she would draw another lot. Later, as soon as they entered, Hina welcomed them, and Saki told him that she woke up past noon. Then Hina thanked all of them. Meanwhile, Ren stated that he is giving her a necklace as he won it in a lottery. Immediately, Saki responded if it's from a man other than the person she likes, then her principle is not to accept the accessory. But since it's from Ren-kun, she should accept it. After wearing it, Saki asked how it looks, and Ren responded that after all, it's pretty as it suits a girl. On the other hand, Seal noted in the roundabout way they drew one more prize. How about Saki also going along as the rooms are separated? Later, she read that Beauty Pure White Spa Hot Spring Resort ticket, and Saki mentioned that she will go as a maiden, mind doubting the wisdom of going with a man to a hot spring resort, but wanting to become beautiful for the sake of the person she likes. Further, she continued that it says this hot spring resort is currently providing entertainment, and Ren questioned if the prize being paid then she approved of its black wings as it says the prize for the championship is black nymphy wings. In the next scene, Rain articulated that the 4 of them had arrived at the hot spring resort. However, Seal asserted that it was not smoke but steam. Unexpectedly, Hina approached Ren and asked if it was all right if they talked. Ren apologized and questioned if they would mind going ahead, and Saki stated they would wait at the entrance for the bath. As soon as they walked outside, Ren quoted that it was just the 2 of them and now they could scratch their wings for the first time in a while. However, Ren contemplated that they were nymph, who do not display their form before humans because legends say that nymph wings grant wishes, which is why hunters seek their lives. Then Ren asked what they were talking about, and Hina mentioned she wanted to ask about those 2. Ren agreed, as Hina didn't know very much about them. Saki was a human girl whom he met only recently and did not reveal to her the fact that both of them were nymphy. Also, she was kind-hearted and pretty, and he really liked her. Seal was also a human because he joined the conservation group which protects Nymphy. One way or another, he was dogging him and was gloomy. Although being a nymph was discovered, it had not been found out by her, so keep it secret. When Hina nodded and asserted that she didn't like Seal, she asked about the person called Aya. Further, Ren described that Aya was a guy who, although he was a nymph, coupled with a hunter and attacked his village. That's why, in order to hunt him as a human and become a nymph hunter, Hina got involved and allowed him to be hurt, then apologized for it. On the other hand, Saki shouted that Hina-chan was a boy, as Ren-kun hadn't said anything earlier. Just then, Ren quoted that they made them wait and asked if there was something wrong, but Saki denied it and thought it was cute. Then she exclaimed that she was going into the bath. Watching her, Ren questioned if Saki was entering the women's section. Lately, Ren asserted that he wanted to go in with Saki, and Hina nodded while quoting that even though it was mixed bathing and there were no girls anymore, Ren agreed because, before leaving the village, he had never seen a girl. Hina also mentioned that he first saw a girl when he went outside. While clenching his fist, Ren shouted that for that very reason, mixed bathing was a chance to see girls. Unexpectedly, Seal stated what a shameful thing he was saying in the presence of the public. Ren asked what the matter was, as he said there was no one, not even a single girl. Then Seal stated if there was a women's section and mixed bathing, he supposed the women folk of the land probably went to the women's section. Further, Seal continued that there were probably also women who didn't mind too much, so wait patiently, but staring was not good. On top of that, he didn't come to show him women. Then Ren mentioned that the price of the event he came to pursue was the wings. Suddenly, Seal splashed water on him and stated that there was something he was keeping from him, as it showed on his face. However, Ren responded that because it was his problem, and Seal asserted if he didn't want him to worry, then he shouldn't show it on his face and questioned if he was waiting for him to give a hand or something. Then Ren quoted not to make a fool of him. Just then, Seal stated that taking something upon himself alone was more foolish and that he should speak even a single word for help. Be smart, and that came along to this resort because he heard that the hot springs here were good for his injuries. So if he understood, he should soak in the water immediately. Then Ren contemplated that, before he knew it, he had come to not dislike Seal. However, he told that Aya said he killed Yuji-sensei. Hearing him, Seal was shocked and asked what he had said, and also bore a hatred for humans, not just for Nymphe. Then Ren responded that perhaps for him, and now he bore a hatred for humans who got involved with him. He contemplated that no doubt the one to be targeted next was Seal, but then Seal assured him that he was fine, and Ren stated that he hadn't said anything. So Seal quoted that the truth was still across his face, and that there were things he regretted, that's why he did the things he felt like doing. Further, Seal prolonged that going with him was indulging himself, and he was grateful for his tolerating him. Hearing this, Ren contemplated that so wrong as the selfish one was him. Then Seal asked why his face was so red or if he was overheated. Ren responded rapidly that it might be, so now he'd get out. Seeing him running, Seal voiced that if he ran like that, it would be dangerous. Unexpectedly, Ren bumped into someone and apologized immediately. But the woman stated how about if he were to go and soak more slowly. Staring at his face, Seal asked what was the matter as he looked unwell. Then Ren responded that after all, mixed bathing was wonderful. Later, a woman shouted on the occasion for their participation in this resort event and thanked them. In the meantime, Saki shouted that Ren-kun and Seal-san should do their best. Furthermore, the woman explained that the rule was extremely simple, a tour of the 3 spas in the forest. The victor would be presented with the championship prize, as this contest was made so that ordinary people could watch. Beyond the fans would be the viewing zone, so get wet in the hot water and an immortal appearance would also be witnessed. Only confined people should and requested them to take part. Suddenly, the same girl appeared and Ren mentioned she was earlier at the bath and asked if she was entering into this, then introduced himself as Ren. Then Seal asked who he was talking to and embraced him from the back. The woman stated that at a time like this, it was a major chance and she should say to Seal but questioned if the two were acquaintances. Ren agreed, as Seal was the former colleague while pulling him. Moreover, Midori stated that he was retiring and being absent from the conservation group, and she was happy. Hearing her, Seal was shocked and unexpectedly. Ren voiced what was wrong, as it was starting already, so let's go quickly. Apparently, the woman noted that the first stage was the room of boiling water. Then Ren asserted to look at the exit beyond the bath, and it seemed hot. Those were agonizing cries, and doing one way or another didn't cross to the other side. Eventually, the woman shouted that it was cruel, as Midori was used to stepping on people. But as soon as Shiel climbed the rope, the woman mentioned that it was magnificent as he used a rope to climb to the beam. Meanwhile, a man asked Ren if a girl all alone was the matter. Then he stated that she couldn't bear underwater that hot, so another man quoted he'd carry her. Apparently, when he reached the other side, Ren asserted that he made him wait. While running, Ren asked Midru-san about working for the conservation group and Seal agreed. Perhaps Ren questioned if the two of them were on bad terms, but Seal denied it as it was the opposite of that, because Midru singled out him with his lost memories and recommended him to the conservation group, and in a sense she saved his life as she was his lover. Hearing this, Ren was shocked, but Seal prolonged that the person might expect they broke up because Midru left the organization years ago. Until today, she had been missing. Also, with the conservation group, quitting isn't permitted because if they entered into a contract to that effect at the onset. That's why she ran away in order to retire from the conservation group. Ren asked if he still liked her. Seal agreed and exclaimed more than anyone else. Further, Shiel mentioned, "Look there, it's the second stage." While reading, Ren read men's section and women's section. Then Shiel supposed that they are this side. But as soon as they entered, they saw many girls who were asking if she will scrub his back. Seeing this, Shiel contemplated, what a silly trap. If this side is like this, then the other side, perhaps. On the other hand, a boy questioned if she wouldn't take her leisure here. Hearing this, Midori contemplated if their people are taken in by this sort of ploy. Meanwhile, Ren shouted that he doesn't want to, as there's a person taken in over here, so let's enjoy ourselves. While pulling him, Seal blurted out, "Pull yourself together." If he wants the wings, then they reach the next stage, as someone asserted that they had been waiting. Further, they mentioned that for this final stage, kindly put on these clothes. After wearing them, it was mentioned that for this stage, they have to avoid hot water attacks, as the first to take the wing in hand will be the victor. Although Seal quoted that the final stage is remarkably simple, Ren agreed, as in the event of withdrawal, and requested to let them know at any moment. Suddenly, it was announced that in the final stage, these three people will contend with each other, so they have been kept waiting for them. Furthermore, they are now wearing the clothes and underwear they received, suggesting that since the weak materials are reduced to that by water, they should be careful as it dissolves in water. In the next scene, Seal shouted in shock that the clothes dissolve in water. However, Ren mentioned that he doesn't particularly mind, and with that, Midori agreed. But Seal shouted at them to be a little concerned, as there are so many people. Then Ren asserted that if the wings were to come into his hand, then something like that is a bargain. Suddenly, the woman stated, the other challenges are waiting, withdrawing being also alright. Then Shiel pondered, thinking it was an awfully simple stage. Then the lady announced that she would introduce the three contestants. It looks like a great number of male fans are already taking her side. The fascinating beauty Midori. Then, that is the anticipation for after the clothes dissolve, the lovely Ren, and a candidate for the championship. Vocal support is rising from the audience for Seal, so the wings are already here, and they were requested to be careful of water traps as they advance. Then the match started. As they were dodging the hot water, seeing them, the anchor announced that the contestant Seal let fly and repulsed the water using leaves. Meanwhile, contestant Ren cleverly used Seal like a shield and magnificently avoided the water gracefully. But contestant Ren has been drenched with water. Seeing them, Ren contemplated that both of them are already up to there. Unexpectedly, the anchor voiced in shock that contestant Ren was advancing directly without minding the water. So would he not be concerned even if he becomes shirtless? Also, he passed contestant Midori and seems to be neck and neck with Seal. Suddenly, Seal quoted that there's a girl behind, then immediately apologized to him. The woman announced that contestant Seal took the wings. Apparently, Seal asserted that necessity knows no laws, and the woman announced that the prize winner is Seal. Later, Ren mentioned that there's no mistake as this is Aya's wings. Afterwards, he'll try asking the organizer for news of Aya. Then Shiel asked if he didn't need it. But Ren stated that he lost. Moreover, it's not the wings as he only wants information about Aya, so it's fine. However, Ren thought that if it's Seal of the conservation group, then he won't use it for bad things, even if he weren't a member of the organization. Just then, Saki voiced to dinner, and Seal mentioned that he'd also gotten hungry. So how about they go eat a meal or something? Apparently, while walking away, Saki noted for both to wait a bit, and Ren asked if that was Saki's bird, as he remembered noticing it on the ship as they were taking their leave. Then hesitantly, Saki stated that this little one is a messenger bird. Ren questioned if that carries letters, Perhaps she's corresponding with her lover. Certainly, Ren contemplated that everyone is in love with someone, but Saki noted that the lover is important to her. Nevertheless, she thought friends too are extremely important, and he agreed. Suddenly, Hina voiced that Ren was important. Then Ren noted he was startled and asked if he ran after him. Hearing this, Saki mentioned that Hina-chan, a guy, can't marry another guy. However, Ren asserted Hina to cheer up, as today's seal is going to treat them to a feast. Just then, Seal shouted that an expensive one is impossible. Further, Ren articulated that how delightful, since that day, this sort of feeling was unfamiliar to everyone, but wondered if it's because he happened to be able to meet him. Later at night, Saki thanked him for the treat and bid them good night. Then Shiel asserted, only a kid yet drinking something like a shake. Rapidly, Ren shouted that he is not a kid because in the village he was already accepted as an adult among worthy grown-ups. Seal asserted, since he gets it, go to sleep. But then Ren questioned with the lover what sort of feeling it is. Is it more important than a companion? Seal stated he too will understand if he tries to be in love, and at that moment, surely he will not be himself. On the other hand, Ren voiced that separated from the town, it's where there are these so-called girls, and Aya responded that at the place known as House Flower Land, there are a lot. But before that, there is a wonderful human place he will let him see. As soon as Ren saw the structure, he asked if this was really made by humans. Aya mentioned 1,000 years ago, then Ren quoted that there is something painted on the pillar. Aya stated that what is written here is the story of an imperial prince who fell in love and destroyed the empire. As humans fell in love, there was also betrayal, even of family and companions, something like that outrageous. Further, Aya prolonged that this so-called love is fascinating. Ren exclaimed that falling in love with the human girl made him wonder if something like that would also happen. Then Aya quoted before that if he were to try falling in love with a nymph partner. Unexpectedly, someone knocked on the door, and while opening his eyes, Ren contemplated a dream of the time he was with Aya. It had been a while since he had one. As soon as he opened the door, Saki was standing with a worried face. Later, Saki stated that she saw Seal-san enter the forest by himself. Ren quoted, perhaps a lover, he only wants to meet Nijiri-san.